The Devils are officially at the halfway mark for their season, and they're surprisingly one of the best teams in the NHL. Joining us to talk some Devils hockey is All Access host and team reporter Amanda Stein. Amanda, what a difference a year can make in the NHL. So talking about this Devils team, what have you seen in this year's squad compared to last year's?
I mean, really, what it is it's a level of maturity. It's a level of experience that has happened for this team that, you really can't discredit what they went through in the last couple of years. You're talking about a team who's been together for a while. And one of the key things for me when I think about this team is it's a desire not to repeat what has happened in previous years when expectations had been set high. Part of that was bringing in players who have veteran experience like Andre Palat, a Brendan Smith, and Eric Holla. But when you really look at the young core of this team, what they went through the last couple of years was just such extreme disappointment that I think the desire that they have, again, as I was saying, not to repeat the same mistakes again has been so vital to who they've become this season and how they're really maturing into their game that isn't much different than what they were playing last year. There are definitely certain tweaks and it's a lot of the same players, but I think it's also that commitment level to winning and how to win that has really changed really the vibe of this entire team.
Yeah, let's talk about that experience because they had themselves an insane November. I think that's the last time we talked, but they had a December that they probably want to forget about. Now they're currently heading into their long road trip off of the back of two multi-goal comeback wins. So can we say that the Devils, with that experience that they've gone through, they're getting back to their November brand of hockey?
I would hope so. And I think, what's so important about what happened in November, I think we can't discredit the value in going through something like that, in December, rather, I should say, because a lot of lessons were learned, a lot of experience was gained that you can't take your foot off the gas for, using a cliche like that. The lessons you learn in how you have to literally, again, cliche, play those 60 minutes. It's the beginning and last minutes of a period that were really hampering them in December. So those lessons are so valuable, especially when you have voices in the room who have been through it before. And so I think that one of the great things about December, I keep getting these two mixed up. December was that there still was no quit in their game. You never saw them quit on a game, even when things went terribly wrong for them. And that's been at the core of who this team is. Then it was about getting over the hump and ending that slump, which they've seemed to have done. And you're absolutely right. Like, we're starting to see that brand from November really start to come back, accessing their games in different ways and not giving up. I mean, that's really been the core of this team. The heart and soul of this team is that mentality from day one until game 41 that they just played the other night.
Well, you just mentioned the heart and soul of this team. Two dudes who I think are the heart and soul of this team, Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. The two have been what we like to say in football, balling. So do you think that Jack should be in the Hart conversation? And does Nico, do you think, have a chance at the Selke?
So yes, the answer is yes to all that. And they are the heart and soul of this team. They're the engine that keeps the ball rolling. Jack in particular, when it comes to the offensive side and just his extreme talent that is now coming to fruition with all those years under his belt. And when it comes to Nico, I do have to say that I do believe that this year could be a year that not only is he in the conversation, which I believe he already is, but really that he steps into that level of a true candidate. You talk about who Nico has become is a lot of who he's always been, just at a higher level now. His head coach from Halifax, when he played in the Quebec Major Junior League, is now the head coach of the Arizona Coyotes, Andre Tourigny. He said when Nico first got into the league, you're going to see one day this guy is going to be a Selke winner and a captain. And then the same thing with John Hines, who is now the coach of the Nashville Predators. He was Nico's first coach in the NHL, and I had a chance to catch up with him a few weeks weeks ago. And, no one really likes to talk about former players and their success in a way, especially when you're about to play each other. But he said, absolutely, Nico should be and is in that Selke consideration. Jack, I mean, what can you say, right? Like, look at the numbers that he puts up. There's really no denying that so goes this team, so goes Jack Hughes. And, even with difficult performances in December, Jack was still there, on those wins that they did have. They had Jack Hughes sort of leading the way and game tying goals, getting them on the board, all those things so vital to the success of this team and driving the engine.
So two big-time players that you just talked about, two back-to-back comeback wins. Now they head out on a long West Coast swing. On paper, and with the Devils' great road record, this could be a trip that gives this team a real boost. So could you give us a little preview of what the Devils are skating themselves into?
It's so interesting because it's a weird trip where we started in Carolina and then went to the West Coast. Now, the Carolina game was probably one of the most important ones on this trip, and they've got that one in their pocket, which is huge. That was an enormous win that you just talked about. Just because of the standing implications, and you need to start winning against your division. But going out west, these are free points for New Jersey if they can continue to play their brand of hockey. It won't be easy. You've got teams like Anaheim, who are second in their division, who are playing well. Seattle is on quite a run right now, but these are points for the taking. And I think that that's the mentality that you have to have going into these games. These are free opportunities at points that don't affect anybody but ourselves in the Eastern Conference standings. It won't be easy because it's always hard traveling across the country. You've got a different time zone. What else do you have? I mean, you're on the road for 12 days, which takes its toll on you, and you've got a back-to-back mixed in there. But you also have some teams in San Jose, Anaheim. Those are teams who have really struggled this year. All I think about when I think about this trip is you've got free points on the board, so you've got to grab them.
Got to come out with Amanda Stein. Thanks for joining us, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You as well.